Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapatanka Swami Maharaj on January 6th, 2021 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Sakaroti Vachalam Mangalangai Gurum Yatkivatalan Vande Sigurum Dinataniram Paramanandamadavam Sri Chaitanya Isram Harihi Om Tat Sat.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation. Today's chapter entitled as Bhakti Pate in place of Mukti Pate. Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya. The mercy of Gaurachandra received from even a moment's association cannot be described by words. One's behavior changes, one's birth changes, one's karma changes.
Haribo Gauranga. This gives the glories of a moment of Lord Chaitanya's association.
This gives the glory of moment of Lord Chaitanya's association.
So Prabhupada was saying, I've been touching one of his books.
Srila Prabhupada was saying, by one touching his books,
By reading one verse,
by reading one verse,
by reading one word,
by reading one word,
they may also be completely changed.
they may also become completely changed.
So we see that Lord Chaitanya is present in Prabhupada's books.
So we see that Lord Chaitanya is present in Srila Prabhupada's books.
And how Lord Chaitanya's association has liberated Sarvabhaumacharya.
And how Lord Chaitanya's association liberated Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
How its associations even today liberating countless people.
How his association even today delivering countless people.
By hearing about his wonderful qualities.
By
Hearing about
hearing about his wonderful qualities.
by chanting his holy name.
By chanting his holy name.
By hearing about his pastimes.
By hearing about his pastimes.
By associating with his devotees.
By associating with his devotees.
So this unlimited mercy
So this unlimited mercy
is still present today.
is still present today.
Actually, my doctors say I shouldn't give any class.
Actually, the doctor said I shouldn't give any class.
I'm addicted to the Chaitanya Leela.
I am addicted to Chaitanya Leela. Haribo. The best of Brahmanas was a followers of impersonalism, Adhyatma. But by the association of the feet of the Lord, he would not even hear the word liberation. Such is the mercy of Gauranga.
গৌরাঙ্গ প্রভুর নিকট সার্বভৌম কর্তৃক পাঠান্তর পূর্বক ব্রহ্মস্তুতি শ্লোক পঠন। একদিন সার্বভৌম প্রভু আগে আইলা নমস্কার করি শ্লোক পড়িতে লাগিলা।
One day, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and after offering obeisances began to recite a verse. One time, when the opportunity arose, in front of the Lord, Sarvabhauma recited a verse from Bhagavatam and instead of Mukti Pate, said Bhakti Pate in bliss.
ভাগবতের ব্রহ্মস্তবের শ্লোক পড়িলা, শ্লোক শেষে দুই অক্ষর পাঠ ফিরাইলা।
He began to quote one of Lord Brahma's prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam, but he changed two syllables at the end of the verse.
শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতম দশম স্কন্ধের 14 8 তত্তে অনুকম্পং সুষিক্তমানং ভুঞ্জাম ইবাত্মকৃতং বিপাকম হৃদ্গাব গোপী বিদধন্য নমস্তে জীবেতে যে মুক্তি পদে সদায় ভাগ।
The Bhattacharya recited, "One who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, who always offers obeisances unto you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for becoming your unalloyed devotee." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When reciting this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya changed the original reading from Mukti Pate to Bhakti Pate. Mukti means liberation and merging into the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Bhakti means rendering transcendental service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of having developed pure devotional service, the Bhattacharya did not like the word Mukti Pate, which refers to the impersonal Brahman feature of the Lord. However, he was not authorized to change a word in Srimad Bhagavatam, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will explain. Although the Bhattacharya changed the word in his devotional ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not approve of it.
And changing a word of the scripture
Changing a word of a scripture
is the right of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his incarnation.
is the right of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his incarnation.
প্রভু কর্তৃক ভাগবত পাঠের সমর্থন ও সংরক্ষণ। প্রভু কয়ে মুক্তিপদে ইহা পাঠ হয়, ভক্তি পদে কেন পড়ো কি তোমার আশায়।
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately pointed out, in that verse the word is Mukti Pate, but you have changed it to Bhakti Pate. What is your intention?
ভট্টাচার্যের মুক্তির পরিবর্তে ভক্তি পাঠ রক্ষার ইচ্ছা। ভট্টাচার্য কহে ভক্তি সম নহে মুক্তি ফল, ভগবদ ভক্তি বিমুখের হয় দণ্ড কেবল।
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, "The awakening of pure love of Godhead, which is the result of devotional service, for surpasses liberation from material bondages. For those averse to devotional service, merging into the Brahman effulgence is a kind of punishment." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Brahmanda Purana, it said, in the Siddha Loka, Brahma Loka, there live two kinds of living entities: those who are killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead due to their having been demons in their previous lives, and those who are very fond of enjoying the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. The word Tamasaha means the covering of the universe. Layer of material elements cover the universe, and outside these coverings is the impersonal Brahman effulgence. If one is destined to remain in the Lord's impersonal effulgence, he misses the opportunity to render service to the personality of Godhead. Therefore, devotees consider remaining in the impersonal Brahman effulgence a kind of punishment. Sometimes devotees think of merging into the Brahman effulgence, and consequently they are promoted to Siddha Loka. Because of their impersonal understanding, they are actually punished. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continues to explain the distinction between Mukti Patha and Bhakti Patha in the following verses.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has understood now that far better than Mukti is Bhakti.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya understood now far better than Mukti is Bhakti.
The four first arthas, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha.
In the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha,
Moksha is liberation from the material bondage.
Moksha is liberation from the material bondage.
And that this includes the Sayuja Mukti, emerging in the impersonal Brahman.
In fact, it includes the if one, it's like Sayuja Mukti merging into the effulgence of Brahman.
That's called as Sayuja Mukti.
That's called as Sayuja Mukti.
The devotees consider that a type of punishment.
Devotees consider that a type of punishment.
They want to be engaged in the service of the Lord.
They want to be engaged in the service of the Lord.
So now Sarvabhauma has realized this.
Now Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has realized this.
So he changed the verse Mukti Pada Bhakti Pada.
So he changed the verse from Mukti Pata to Bhakti Pata.
Let's see if Lord Chaitanya approves that.
Let's see if Lord Chaitanya approves that.
পাষাণ্ড মায়াবাদী ও বিষ্ণু বিদ্বেষী দৈত্যগণের সাযুজ্য মুক্তি। কৃষ্ণের বিগ্রহ যেই সত্য নাহি মানে, যেই নিন্দা যুদ্ধাদি করে তার শনে, সেই দুয়ের দণ্ড হয় ব্রহ্ম সাযুজ্য মুক্তি, তার মুক্তি ফল নাহি যেই করে ভক্তি।
The Bhattacharya continued, the impersonalists who do not accept the transcendental form of Lord Sri Krishna and the demons who are always engaged in blaspheming and fighting with him are punished by being merged into the Brahman effulgence. But that does not happen to the person engaged in the devotional service of the Lord.
The devotee of the Lord, he is engaged in one of the five types, primary rasas.
Devotee of the Lord engaged in one of the five primary rasas.
Santa Dasya, neutral servitude.
Santa Dasya, neutral servitude.
Sakya, friendship.
Sakya, friendship.
Vatsalya, parenthood.
Vatsalya, parentalhood.
Madhurya, conjugal.
Madhurya, conjugal.
পঞ্চবিধ মুক্তি। যদ্যাপি মুক্তি হয় এই পঞ্চ প্রকার, শালুক্য সামীপ্য সারূপ্য ষষ্ঠী সাযুজ্য।
There are five kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sashti and Sayujya. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Salokya means that after material liberation, one is promoted to the planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. Samipya means remaining an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarubhya means attaining a four-handed form exactly like that of the Lord. Sastri means attaining opulences like those of the Supreme Lord. And Sayujya means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. These are the five types of liberation.
All the pure devotees of the Lord never accept the Sayuja Mukti.
So the pure devotee of the Lord, they don't want never accept the Sayujya Mukti.
Merging into the Brahman effulgence.
The merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord.
No, accept the other types of liberation if it includes devotional service.
They accept other kinds of liberations if it includes devotional service.
সাযুজ্য ব্যতীত মুক্তি চতুষ্টয় ভক্তির আনুষঙ্গিক। শালুক্যাদি চারি যদি হয় সেবাদার, তবু কদাচিৎ ভক্ত করে অঙ্গীকার।
If there is a chance to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead A pure devotee sometimes accepts the Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya or Sarstri forms of liberation but never Sayujya.
নরক সদৃশ সাজুজ্য ভক্তি বিনাশক বলিয়া সর্বথা পরিত্যাজ্য। সাজুজ্য শুনিতে ভক্তের হয় ঘৃণা ভয়, নরক বাঞ্ছায়ে তবু সাজুজ্য না লয়।
A pure devotee does not like even to hear about Sayujya Mukti, which inspires him with fear and hatred. Indeed, the pure devotee would rather go to hell than merging into the effulgence of the Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has sung Kaivalyam Narakadyate. The impersonalist conception of becoming one with the effulgence of the Lord is exactly like hell. Therefore, of the 5 types of liberation, the first 4, Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya and Shastri, are not so undesirable because they can even avenues of service of the Lord. Nonetheless, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna rejects even these types of liberation. He aspires only to serve Krishna birth after birth. He is not very interested in stopping the repetition of birth, for he simply desires to serve the Lord even in hellish circumstances. Consequently, the pure devotee hates and fears Sayujya Mukti, merging into the effulgence of the Lord. This merging is due to an offense committed against the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and therefore it is not at all desirable for a pure devotee.
Find that His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada
The point is that His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada
is making here
is making here
the devotee wants to serve the Lord.
the devotee wants to serve the Lord.
Any form of liberation which doesn't give any service to the Lord is not very desirable to the devotee.
In any form of liberation which doesn't give service to the Lord is not desirable.
Since there's never any opportunity to serve the Lord in the Sujya Mukti,
There is never an opportunity to serve the Lord in the Sayujya Mukti.
therefore that's really out of the question.
Therefore that is completely out of the question.
Because Bhagavad-Gita, the devotee of the Lord, is start to merge into the Brahman effulgence.
In Brigad Bhagavatamrita, a devotee of the Lord, he started to merge into the Brahman effulgence.
Call out quickly, Govinda!
He called out quickly, Govinda,
Immediately he was transferred to the spiritual planets.
and he immediately got transferred to the spiritual planets.
The Mayavadis are very interested in bhakti.
The Mayavadis, they are very interested in Mukti.
But the devotees of the Lord are very interested in service.
The devotee of the Lord are very much interested in service.
দ্বিবিধ সাজুজ্য ব্রহ্মে ঈশ্বরে সাজুজ্য দ্বৈত প্রকার, ব্রহ্ম সাজুজ্য হইতে ঈশ্বর সাজুজ্য অধিকার।
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, there are 2 kinds of Sayujya Mukti, merging into the Brahman effulgence and merging into the personal body of the Lord. Merging into the Lord's body is even more abominable than merging into his effulgence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to the opinion of the Mayavadi Vedantists, the living entity's ultimate success is to merge into the impersonal Brahman. The impersonal Brahman or bodily effulgence of the Supreme Lord is known as Brahma Loka or Siddha Loka. According to the Brahma Samhita 5.40, Yashya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanta Koti. The material universes are generated from the bodily rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yogis who follow the principles of Patanjali accept the personality of the Absolute Truth, but they want to merge into the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord. That is their desire. Being the greatest authority, the Supreme Lord can easily allow many millions of living entities to merge into his body. The origin of everything is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, and his bodily effulgence is known as the Brahmajyoti, Brahmaloka, or Siddhaloka. Thus, Brahmaloka or Siddhaloka is a place where many spark like living entities, parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are assembled. Because these living entities do not wish to keep their individual existences, they are combined and allowed to remain in Brahmaloka like so many atomic particles of sunshine emanating from the sun. The word Siddha is very significant. Siddha refers to one who has realized Brahman effulgence and who has complete knowledge that the living entity is not a material atom but a spiritual spark. This understanding is described in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 as Brahma Bhuta. In the conditioned state, the living entity is known as Jiva Bhuta or the living force within matter. Brahma Bhuta living entities are allowed to stay in Brahma Loka or Siddha Loka, but unfortunately they sometimes again fall into the material world because they are not engaged in devotional service. This is supported by the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam beginning Ye Anye Aravindaksha. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32. These semi-liberated souls falsely claim to be liberated, but unless one engages in devotional service to the Lord, he is still materially contaminated. Therefore, these living entities have been described as Vimukta Maninaha, meaning that they falsely consider themselves liberated, although their intelligence is not yet purified. Although these living entities undergo severe austerities to rise to the platform of Siddhaloka, they cannot remain there perpetually, for they are bereft of Ananda bliss. Even though these living entities attain the Brahma Bhuta stage and realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his bodily effulgence, they nonetheless fall down due to neglecting the Lord's service. They do not properly utilize whatever little knowledge they have of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not attaining Ananda or bliss, they come down to the material world to enjoy. This is certainly a fall down for one who is actually liberated. The Bhaktas consider such a fall down equal to achieving a place in hell. The followers of the Patanjali yoga system actually want to merge into the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This indicates that they do not want to engage in his service despite their knowledge of him, and thus their position is even more abominable than that of those who want to merge into the Lord's effulgence. These yogis meditate on the four-handed Vishnu form of the Lord in order to merge into his body. The Patanjali system describes the form of the Lord as Klesha Karma, Vipakashayar, Apramrishtaha Purusha, Vishesha Ishvaraha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person who does not partake of a miserable material life. The yogis accept the eternity of the Supreme Person in one of their mantras, Sa Purvesham Api Guruhu Kala Nava Chayet, that such a person is always supreme and is not influenced by the element of time. The followers of Patanjali system therefore accept the eternity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet according to them, Purushartha Sunyanam prati prasavaha kaivalyam swarupa pratishtha va chiti shakti iti. They believe that in the perfectional stage the conception of Purusha is vanquished. According to their description, Chiti Shaktir iti, they believe that when one becomes perfect, he cannot remain a person. This yoga system is therefore abominable because its final conception is impersonal. In the beginning, these yogis accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they ultimately give up this idea in order to become impersonal. They are most unfortunate because although they have a personal conception of absolute truth, they neglect to render devotional service to the Lord and thus fall down again into the material world. As mentioned above, this idea is supported by Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32. Aruhya krishrena param patam tataha patanti ato anadrita yushmat angrayaha. Due to neglecting the lotus feet of the Lord, these yogis again fall into the material existence. Patanti ataha. Consequently, this path of yoga is more abominable than the impersonalist path. This conclusion is also supported by Lord Kapiladeva in the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29.13.
Here, Srila Prabhupada has explained in great detail the difference between Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga.
Here, Srila Prabhupada described in great detail about Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga.
Patanjali was the principal exponent of Ashtanga Yoga or mystic yoga system.
Patanjali is a principal exponent of Ashtanga Yoga or mystic yoga.
Yet ultimate instruction is one emerged in the body of Krishna,
His
Narayana.
ultimate concept is to one merging with Narayana.
Instead of graduating to Bhakti Yoga,
Instead of graduating in Bhakti Yoga,
instead of graduating,
in Bhakti Yoga,
he falls down to kind of the impersonal path,
he falls down a kind of a impersonal path
Jnana Yoga.
or Jnana Yoga.
But he wants to merge in the personality of Godhead.
He wants to merge in the personality of Godhead.
The most abominable.
It's most abominable.
সেব্যের নিষ্কাম সেবা ব্যতীত সেবকের কোনো মুক্তি কাম্য নহে। শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতম 3য় স্কন্ধের 29 অধ্যায়ের 13 নম্বর শ্লোক। শালুক্য শাষ্টি সামীপ্য স্বরূপৈকত্বম অপ্যুত দীয়মানাং ন গৃহন্তি বিনা মত সেবনং জনা।
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya concluded, even though he is offered all kinds of liberation, the pure devotee does not accept them. He is fully satisfied engaging in the service of the Lord.
প্রভু কর্তৃক মুক্তিপদের ব্যাখ্যা। প্রভু কয়ে মুক্তিপদের আর অর্থ হয় মুক্তিপদ শব্দে সাক্ষাৎ ঈশ্বর কয়।
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, the word Muktipate has another meaning. Muktipata directly refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
মুক্তিপদে যার সেই মুক্তিপদ হয় কিংবা নবম পদার্থ মুক্তির সমাশ্রয়।
All kinds of liberations exist under the feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is known as Muktipada. According to another meaning, Mukti is the ninth subject of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the shelter of liberation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Krishna is also known as Mukunda, or he who gives transcendental bliss by offering all kinds of mukti. Srimad Bhagavatam is divided into 12 cantos, and in the 9th canto, different kinds of mukti are described. But the 10th canto is actually center of all discussion of mukti because the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who is the 10th subject discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, is the conclusive subject of the 10th canto. Since all types of muktis reside at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, he may be called Muktipada.
So Lord Chaitanya is instructing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
So Lord Chaitanya is instructing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
Muktipada is also a name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna.
How Muktipada is also the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna.
And therefore, it's all right to use that word.
Therefore, it is all right to use that word.
দুই অর্থে কৃষ্ণ কহি কেন পাঠ ফিরে সার্বভৌম কহে ও পাঠ কহিতে না পারি।
Since I can understand Krishna according to these two meanings, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what point is there in changing the verse? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, I was not able to give that reading to the verse. Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya. Hearing this, the Lord gave another meaning to the word mukti. Sarvabhauma said, this meaning has been anointed with your power.
তথাপি সার্বভৌমের মুক্তি শব্দের সাজুজ্যার্থে অনাদর ও ভক্তি শব্দের আদর। যদ্যপি তোমার অর্থ এই শব্দে কয় তথাপি আশ্লিষ্য দোষে কহনো না যায়।
Although your explanation is correct, it should not be used because there is ambiguity in the word Muktipada. Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya. I say that the phrase has the fault of inauspiciousness since it gives rise to inferior meanings. The statement whose words are perfect and eloquent conquers the whole world by its fame and cannot be described by words.
Point is that somewhere or other, the word Muktipada
The point is that some way or other the word Muktipada
brings to mind Supreme Personality of Godhead.
brings to mind the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
That is auspicious for the hearer.
That is auspicious for the hearer.
And even one may be attracted by mukti
One even may be attracted by mukti
if they understand that all mukti is available to the lotus feet of Krishna.
if they understand all mukti is available at the lotus feet of
They
Krishna.
may engage in devotional service
They may engage in devotional service
and get higher taste.
and get higher taste.
যদ্যপি মুক্তি শব্দের হয় পঞ্চবৃত্তি রূঢ়ি বৃত্তি কহে তবু সাজুজ্যার্থে প্রতীতি।
The word mukti refers to 5 kinds of liberation, but its direct meaning usually conveys the idea of becoming one with the Lord.
মুক্তি শব্দ কহিতে মনে হয় ঘৃণা ত্রাস ভক্তি শব্দ কহিতে মনে হয়তো উল্লাস।
The very sound of the word mukti immediately induces hate and fear, but when we say the word bhakti, we naturally feel transcendental bliss within the mind.
This shows how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, by the association of Lord Chaitanya, has been so much changed.
This shows how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, by the association of Lord Chaitanya, have been changed.
Before, he was always thinking about mukti,
Before he was always thinking about mukti,
and now he feels anger and envy against fear against the word mukti,
Now he feels anger and fear against the word mukti.
and he feels transcendental bliss when saying bhakti.
He feels transcendental bliss when he say the word bhakti.
সার্বভৌমের নিষ্কাম ভক্তি দর্শনে প্রভুর হর্ষ শুনিয়া হাসেন প্রভু আনন্দিত মনে ভট্টাচার্য কইল প্রভু দৃঢ় আলিঙ্গনে।
Upon hearing this explanation, the Lord began to laugh and with great pleasure immediately embraced Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya very firmly.
So Sarvabhaumacharya received the special mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya received the special mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
And Lord Chaitanya embraced him very firmly.
When Lord Chaitanya embraced him very firmly,
গ্রন্থকারের কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য কৃপা মহিমা কীর্তন যেই ভট্টাচার্য পড়ে পড়ায় মায়াবাদে তার ওইছে বাক্য স্ফুরে চৈতন্য প্রসাদে।
indeed that very person who had been accustomed to reading and teaching Mayavada philosophy was now even hating the word mukti. This was possible only by the mercy of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Gauranga.
গৌরাঙ্গ লোহাকে যাবত স্পর্শী হেম নাহি করে তাবৎ স্পর্শী মনি কেহ চিনিতে না পারে।
As long as it does not turn iron into gold by its touch, no one can recognize an unknown stone to be a touchstone.
A touchstone may look like an ordinary stone.
A touchstone maybe look like an ordinary stone.
Once it touches the iron,
Once it touches the iron
it turns the iron into gold.
and turns the iron into a gold,
You know it's a touchstone.
then we know it is a touchstone.
Similarly, Lord Chaitanya may be seen as an ordinary or special human being or something like that.
People see Lord Chaitanya as a special human being or something like that.
But once someone comes in contact with him,
Once someone comes in contact with him,
they achieve pure bhakti.
they achieve pure bhakti.
It's like you know that he's a touchstone. He turns people into bhaktas. Like a touchstone can turn iron into gold.
Then we know that he can turn people into bhaktas. A touchstone can change iron into a gold.
প্রভুকে পরমেশ্বর শ্রীকৃষ্ণ বলিয়া সকলের বিশ্বাস ভট্টাচার্যের বৈষ্ণবতা দেখি সর্বজন প্রভুকে জানিল সাক্ষাৎ গজেন্দ্র নন্দন।
Upon seeing transcendental Vaishnavism in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, everyone could understand that Lord Chaitanya was none other than Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaja.
As you said, our touchstone is recognized and turns iron into gold.
Just as said, touchstone, it's known when it changes iron into a gold.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying that his heart was hard like iron.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explains his heart as a iron.
And simply by the touch, by the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
As soon as it touched by the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
he was completely changed.
he was completely changed.
So then people could recognize that actually Lord Chaitanya is none other than Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj.
So the people can see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna, none other than son of Nanda Maharaj. Thus ends the chapter entitled Bhakti Pate in the place of Mukti Pate.
Haribo. Gauranga. Nityananda.
নিত্যানন্দ
Gauranga.
গৌরাঙ্গ
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.